Hello there, and welcome to Force Talk, a Star Wars podcast. Imagine, if you will, that you're inside a moisture evaporator and you need a translator who can speak Bachi to help fix the evaporator because all the moisture is on all of the presenters. It's outrageously hot in here, so we're going to whip through this as quickly as we can. I know an hour's probably not that quick, but there you go. So we're going to be covering some Star Wars news that we've picked up as usual. I'm going to be doing a little bit on posters, the art of Star Wars, and we're going to be sharing with you another interview, not from Star Wars Fan Fun Day, but from another convention I went to a few months back. So let's get on with it. Okay, Star Wars news. So there's quite a few bits and pieces here. First of all, from Inverse.com, we've got Edgar Wright hints that he has a Star Wars project coming.
What?
Yeah! So, of course, the director of Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, The World's End, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, my God!
And his latest project, Baby Driver, not sure about this. I've not seen this
I've heard it's critically a darling.
Really? Is that true?
Yes.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, jolly good. So, anyway, he was quoted as saying, they said to him, are you ever likely to direct a Star Wars movie? To which he said, I guess so, yeah. I have something crazy, but I can't tell you.
Is that an impression?
I've not really paid enough attention to his voice to be able to do an accurate impression, to be honest. You know, I may have been able to do a Simon Pegg or a Nick Frost, a push. But then when asked to elaborate, he said, you'll have to see it Christmas. So we can assume that it's probably not this Christmas, because we know what's coming out this Christmas.
Mm-hmm. But for news of a new film could be dropping like any time, really, couldn't it?
But they have kind of really subtly put a picture of Edgar Wright next to a picture of Boba Fett.
I really hope it is.
Yeah, but then again, no, that could just...
And Daniel Logan has actually been fitted for a full Boba Fett costume, so fingers crossed
He has. Hi, Daniel. That is pretty cool, actually, yeah.
That's young Boba Fett from the prequels, in case you was at home like, who's Daniel Logan?
That's him. Mates with him on Facebook, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So,
oh, Paddy's got a mate.
Oh, I've
well
got Star Wars friends.
Whoa, copyright.
So, would you be up for him directing a Boba Fett film, or would you like to see him do something different? If he was going to do something crazy, what could you imagine that might be as a Star Wars project?
I don't know. I've only seen Shaun of the Dead, so it's a bit difficult to judge what it'd be like, really.
Well, I suppose we could assume that it will definitely have some humour in it.
Yes. That being said, that I'm not sure, but I think Baby Driver's like more of a sort of like action thriller type film. Like, I'm not sure if it's actually a comedy per se, but I could be wrong. I'm not.
Okay.
I can't really remember the trailer. Other than that, Kevin Spacey is in it.
Always good.
Which is always good.
So, based on the strength then of Shaun of the Dead, would you like to see him direct a Star Wars film?
No,
or does that not really fill you with confidence?
There's plenty of other directors out there who'd be better suited to a Star Wars film, I think, than...
But he is a young, hip director.
I disagree.
And that is popular for Star Wars at the moment.
I disagree completely. I think Edgar Wright would be amazing for a Star Wars film. There's loads of Star Wars references in his films.
In space.
So, and Shaun of the Dead as well.
Yeah,
it's like
course,
that bit at the end where Simon Pegg is like going onto the street with that little lift that's basically for Millennium Falcon.
Yeah,
shot, isn't it? So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like there's lots of little directorial references throughout.
He's basically been auditioning for it for his entire career. But something tells me that his sort of pop culture references will have to be snipped off if he's going to do a Star Wars film.
He's also had his issues with working with Disney in the past as well, because obviously he was slated to direct Ant-Man, and he dropped out of that project due to differences with the studio.
According to Hayden, that was the best thing that ever happened to Ant-Man.
I disagree, Hayden.
Well, there you go.
Well, what about Sarah? What does she think?
It's Boba Fett, straight up yes.
Yeah, if it's Boba Fett, it's straight up yes. Right, okay.
Anything Boba, Mando, I love it straight away.
Well, that of course. But what do you think? Let's say it was Boba Fett. What do you think possibly he could do crazy with Boba Fett?
Not really. Crazy.
It's difficult.
It is difficult, but it could fill in the gap between Attack of the Clones, growing up, and getting to Return of the Jedi when he gets thrown down the Zalot pit, which we do know he survived.
Do we?
Shut up.
Do we?
Because they made it canon and computer game, is that right?
No.
No.
No?
She's
Folks,
just wishful
hoping.
thinking.
Oh, right, okay.
Nobody can kill Amando.
Well, I won't jump all over your hopes there as you do with Han Solo ones, but still.
Han Solo's dead.
I know, he's dead. I've accepted it.
He's a star now.
Yeah, still too soon. So, well, I'd say we give Edgar Wright a thumbs up, certainly. Yeah.
Well, most of us do.
Let's see how it pans out.
I've only seen the one film. So.
Producer and Mike don't want to see it.
But it's
Right.
just purely off seeing Shaun of the Dead, and the jury's out for me. But
Well, we're gonna put you on a diet of Edgar Wright films until the next episode.
Yeah,
And
you
then-
should. I watched Hot Fuzz today, and it's amazing. You
Right.
should really.
It is
watch
very,
Hot Fuzz.
very good.
Like, it's so good. Like,
You want
I
to-
feel Hot Fuzz is actually better than Shaun of the Dead, which may be a controversial opinion, but
It's probably one of the best things Timothy Dalton ever did.
Oh,
It's absolutely
definitely.
fantastic.
definitely.
So there we go.
When he said, "You find out this Christmas," unless he's like directed part of The Last Jedi, and he's just like a second unit director.
I can't see it.
I mean,
I think what he's saying is you will find out at our Christmas, unless they're going to announce.
does
like
he
you were
say?
saying.
Does he say Christmas or
He says
you'll
you'll
see
see at Christmas.
That suggests it's this Christmas, sure. So
It might be a trailer. Might release a trailer with the movie.
You never know. They might have kept a project entirely secret, other than Han Solo. Be interesting.
possible.
So there you go, Edgar Wright on Star Wars. So that'll be pretty cool. Right, what we're going to look at next was Snoke's region of origin discovered in The Last Jedi? Question mark. This is from K Movie News Blogspot. Supreme Leader Snoke's true identity will not be fully revealed in The Last Jedi. But that doesn't mean we won't eventually learn where he truly hails from. In the lead up to The Last Jedi, it was rumoured that Snoke truly does stand 8 feet tall, towering over his Sith pupil Kylo. In fact, we've heard that he would be played by a practical puppet this time, voiced by Andy Serkis, as opposed to the man doing motion capture as he did in The Force Awakens, which sounds very, very good to me.
Yeah, I imagine. Do you reckon it'll be a combination of like puppet / CG?
I'm all about that. I think that's
they
the way
did
to go.
something similar with Simon Pegg's Unclar is it Plat? Whatever.
Yeah,
Character.
they did. Yeah.
Yeah, so if they do some-
4 portions. Yeah.
Paddy's audition. Yeah, if they do something like that, it would be great. Hot in here.
Obviously, they aren't kind of telling us. Snoke is just one of the many mysteries yet unsolved as we head into The Last Jedi. It may be tied to Rey's true parentage. And we know he has something to do with Ben Solo or Organa. If you like the royal theory about his last name. He is also somehow tied to Luke Skywalker. He's said to spend the second half of the movie on a mission to hunt Snoke down and possibly kill him off. Ooh, I do like the sound of that.
Kill him off with his walkie.
So there you go. There's lots of interesting things happening. I mean, I'm not really that bothered about where he's from, but how do you feel about them sort of linking them all together in this kind of in this way that they're discussing?
To be honest, I thought they had already sort of made some progress in that direction in the Thrawn book anyway, because I believe, like, I've not read it, but I believe there's a bit, spoilers, but there's a bit where Thrawn discusses with the Emperor that there's a sort of threat in the unknown regions, and the Emperor has previously been obsessed with the unknown regions, and when the Empire was defeated, that's where they went to. So it's presumably Snoke. We're going to find some sort of planet in the unknown region, or maybe he's from a black hole. Who knows? Maybe something really crazy is going down.
According to this, that knowledge helped him rise up, becoming the highest-ranking non-human servant in the Imperial fleet. Grand
Is that Thrawn you're on about?
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, it's all talk about Timothy Zahn, so yeah. Okay, well, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
What's everybody else's thoughts on that?
I'm sorry, I'm sweating.
I just noticed you're Mandalorian.
Yeah, it's my...
Pretty sweet.
With Thor.
Oh, nice, very nice. Yeah. What do you think about the sort of lineage of Snoke, and if we're going to find out, and whether him and...
I'm still thinking about the Ben Organa and Solo.
Oh, right. What did you think about that?
I think he's going to be a Solo. I don't think he's going to be an Organa, because it's a dead family now. Think about it, Alderaan's been destroyed, the family will be dead with Leia.
You would have thought so. Unless some of them made their escape.
Never know.
Playing away in Naboo and stuff.
It'd be quite interesting to if we did get to meet another character from Alderaan, perhaps.
Like Thule or Rist. The different families.
Oh right, yeah.
I mean, sure,
I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Expand.
No,
the different family from that planet. Oh right, okay.
Different houses, like there's Thule, there's Rist. I'm too hot to think.
That'll do. You've skilled me enough there. Fair play. Well, that opens up all kinds of possibilities then. Snoke could be from one of the other houses of Alderaan, even.
He could be from my cupboard.
Think about that. He could be from what?
My cupboard.
From your cupboard. What, like the airing cupboard where you keep your washing?
Yeah.
Snoke smells very fresh.
Blow me.
Sorry, wrong podcast. Right, okay.
I believe we're going live on Facebook now as well.
Is that right? That was a huge mistake. Right, okay, so moving on.
What else have we got?
Moving on then. Mark Hamill clarifies his Luke Skywalker criticism in The Last Jedi.
What criticism's that?
Do you remember he was saying how he fundamentally disagreed?
I do remember. I just said that to let people fill in the people who probably didn't know.
Yeah.
That's for you at home.
In case you didn't watch the last episode.
Or for Mike, because he's got dementia.
Where am I?
Space dementia. Space dementia. Okay. Yeah, I mean, one can perhaps assume that Disney might have read all this and gone, Mark, could you be a little bit nicer to Ryan?
I know it's probably
Ryan.
Stop bullying him.
Being as the film's not come out yet.
Yes.
Tell them all that you love what he's done with Luke Skywalker, and it's all going to be fine. So anyway, as it turns out, all what he said couldn't be farther from the truth. Mark Hamill recently clarifying those comments in a new interview. Here's what he had to say about Star Wars The Last Jedi director below. Rian Johnson is an amazing filmmaker. Ryan, whatever.
Whoa.
I told you, spell it with a Y. If you want to be written. So, Rian Johnson is an amazing filmmaker, and if you look at Brick or Brothers Bloom or Looper, each film is different from the last one, and they're so inventive. I think people will be pleased and surprised. I know I was. So he's kind of still sticking the knife in. I got in trouble because I was quoted as saying to Ryan that I fundamentally disagree with everything you decided about Luke, and it was inartfully phrased. What I was surprised at how he saw Luke, and it took me a while to get around to his way of thinking. But once I was there, it was a thrilling experience. I hope it will be for the audience too.
It still doesn't convince me that it still doesn't fundamentally.
It just feels like there was like somebody's hand it's from Disney in his head going.
I like the way he quotes it word for word, that I fundamentally disagree with everything you decided.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to get around to accepting that.
When they reminded me how much I was going to get paid for this movie.
Makes you wonder though what Ryan, how he sees Luke. Maybe just Don't know.
I don't know.
We'll have to wait and see.
Well, it kind of
does surprise everyone.
Does it lend itself to this whole Grey Jedi thing? I mean, we did kind of half discuss that, but you didn't get to pitch in on that.
No, I don't mind the idea of the Grey Jedi thing, but it's when you look at George's idea of the light and the dark, and the whole purpose of Star Wars was to be like an example to children how to live your life. To now say, oh yeah, you can be a bit evil, you can do bad things and good things. It doesn't matter.
You can
beat
do a
up
bit
some
of both.
grannies
Tap into the
when
dark
you're
side
like,
when you
just
want,
pay
you know,
your
just-
taxes, we'll all be fine.
So it depends what they mean exactly by Grey Jedi. Hopefully it's not like you can just use the dark side and fry people with lightning as and when you want and it's okay.
Well,
Yeah, I don't know.
unfortunately, there's not really any real practical application of that.
I can think of a few.
Oh, fair.
Well, I guess we'll wait and see. I mean, just coming along to that point there, I think maybe... But what I assume it means is that you're embracing both sides to find the key path, not to kind of be a little bit evil and a little bit light. I don't know. It's like you're gaining the whole picture by learning.
It's like saying that I'm going to be teetotal, but just to appreciate how teetotal I am, I'm going to have the odd whiskey every now and then, and
Sounds like, sounds like me.
Would you say it's kind of akin to if you're affiliated or a supporter of a particular political party to watch for other political parties, like speeches and stuff, just sort of like get where they're coming from and just be like, they are literally all insane.
yeah, sure.
So, yeah.
So,
Metaphor.
Mark really thinks it's going to be fine, so it's going to be...
He does. He genuine, out of his mouth. That's his thoughts. And because it's in writing, it's got to be sincere. That's how it works.
Right, so, can you pronounce that word for me?
Praetorian.
Right. Photos of Praetorian Guard, Executioner, Stormtrooper, and new AT-AT from Star Wars. The last...
Or AT-AT.
AT-AT, Last Jedi.
You wouldn't say AT-SIT, would you? I suppose you would. AT-ACT.
I mean, I'm kind of going off what I would call them as a child, which was
that an
AT-AT.
MB.
Is that B or 6? It's very blurry.
Yeah, the
You
picture
can find
quality,
All-terrain.
as it's a leak, the picture quality is kind of crap, but...
I'm trying to work out what it is. All-terrain.
Massive.
Mobile.
Badger.
Beast.
Badger!
It is. It does look like a badger because it's got a big... No. It's
got a hump.
So it's got a big cannon on its back.
Which, of course, all badgers have.
What badges have you seen?
All badgers have huge...
It's got a tongue as well hanging out, which is a bit random from where I'm sat.
Have you not... That's
just
why they
like
banned badger baiting, because they were all
Big
carrying...
ass teeth.
Because you're going to
They
shot.
were all carrying shotguns for protection, that's why.
It does look quite cool, actually.
It does... Do you notice, though, is it just me, or does it look like it's...
Hunched.
Like a kind of...
Well,
like
they called
an
it a
ape?
gorilla walker, didn't they,
Yeah.
originally?
So
maybe,
they've gone... they've gone
from
back...
gorilla to badger.
I think
What?
this was a technical improvement, so they can't be tripped up anymore. I think that's the thought behind it.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes.
Right.
I remember reading about that
So
somewhere.
we're not going to get any snow speeders or anything like that.
No.
And what do we think about the cannon on the back rather than on the...
I just got a picture of the cannon firing and then the attack just goes, flies backwards. Oh, we didn't think that one through.
I mean,
dragging its paws?
on the back, like it does look like it's got quite a meaty sort of power source there, so it looks like it could deliver potentially more.
So it could be an ion cannon.
Possibly.
You never know.
Oh,
They all kind of went quiet, ion cannons, didn't they, really, after Empire Strikes Back?
Rogue One.
Are they?
Yeah, they shoot the iron torpedoes at the Star Destroyer and cripple it.
Yeah, the
iron torpedoes and
The
iron
Y-wing land probes, they shoot them from that.
Yeah.
I've seen Rogue
The
One.
Y-wings.
You
I
don't
know
hear
what I'm
them say
talking
ion cannon, though, other than that one bit, do you?
Oh, you should. You do.
Oh,
host
so
the Star
TIE
Wars
Fighter's an
podcast.
iron engine. Think about it.
Yeah, I'm just saying ion cannon, that's all. That's all.
No,
I'm
everything's
saying-
about cannons.
So, no, enough about
It's the
cannon.
heat. It's the heat that's
It is the
affecting our
heat.
brain.
I'm
We're
sorry,
making no
I'm
sense
sweaty.
here at all. Executioner Stormtrooper.
It's just a stormtrooper with a red shoulder pauldron.
Excellent. And
Also known as a new toy.
yeah.
That's all it is.
Also known as a First Order Sandtrooper,
Yeah.
basically. Is what, but he's
And it's
got
got a red,
bit of red on the side of
Yeah.
his head.
but we'll all have to buy the Black Series.
But Michael will all have to buy
And then I'll have to buy the sideshow one just because.
You'll have to buy the sideshow. I have no idea what this one is underneath. Is this the?
This is Sarah's. You've got the background, haven't you?
Ah, right.
Well, I don't necessarily know the background with Last Jedi, but Praetorian is a lightsaber fighting style, which was used by the Imperial Knights, which was better known as the Grey Jedi for the New Jedi Order.
So that says that.
So they're going to be
Jedi is.
Are they going to be like
Canon.
Royal Guards?
Canon.
They're going to be like the Imperial Royal Guards, but have like a special
Saber.
weapon, maybe.
Saber, staff, stick.
Because we never actually saw the Royal Guards do anything.
No.
Stand there and
the
look
little
cool.
scenes for most of it is like, oh. Like, Vader tries going in through the doors and the guards sort of close off the door and he's like, I'm going to start choking these bitches, and then
You said a swear.
an officer...
Even Yoda just sort of flicks his finger, doesn't he? They go flying backwards. So.
Yeah, and an officer's like, you can't go in there, Vader.
So these sound like potentially they will probably be more badass.
Yeah,
I'm
which
hoping
is
so.
possibly necessary.
Try and take out Luke or something, maybe.
Possibly.
Sounds good.
Especially trained Jedi hunters.
Do we want to discuss this about the lightsabers then?
Lightsaber.
Shit.
Sith lightsabers.
Nothing.
We do know. I thought we were doing that first. Doesn't matter the order. Orders do not have to be obeyed at all times without question.
Well, I suppose this is a new segment now, right? Have we done with the news articles?
Oh yes. Okay, I will say yeah. We are done with the news articles now. So
The new segment is...
it's done. It's done. It's too hot, man. It's just done. Eh? Okay, now it's time for a very brief Talking Sith. Bringing Talking Sith back.
We always talk Sith.
We always talk Sith on this show. So...
And it's specifically Sith today, right?
It is very, very Sith. So Star Wars comic, this is from movieweb.com. Star Wars comic reveals how Sith lightsabers are made. It was previously revealed why Sith lightsabers are red. It's because the kyber crystals inside of them are alive and they bleed. But how does a Sith go about constructing their lightsaber? That is a myth that's finally revealed and made part of the official Star Wars canon in a new Star Wars comic book. So
it's the Darth Vader comic book, I presume.
Yes, that would be correct. Marvel has released a new comic book called Vader 1, which fills in the Sith Lord's backstory between Revenge of the Sith and Rogue One. Fans finally get to see Anakin's early days in the Vader suit and how he struggled with accepting his fate. We also get to see Darth construct his now iconic red lightsaber with a little help from his mentor, Emperor Palpatine. For the first time, we get to see Darth Vader and Palpatine training together. In one interesting scene, the curious pupil asks his master about red lightsabers, having lost his blue lightsaber during the fight with Obi-Wan on his future home of Mustafar. Mostly, he wants to know how they get their colour. So it says the crystal from any Jedi's lightsaber will do. As you know, the kyber crystals are alive in their way. Like any living thing, they can feel pain. Through the dark side, you must pour your pain into the crystal, and when, at last, the agony becomes more than it can stand, a beautiful crimson, the colour of your rage. The colour of your rage.
It's been good to get Ian McDiarmid to read that book.
He wasn't available today.
Yeah.
But, so what do we think about that?
Yeah, I think it's expanded a bit on the original idea that the crystals just bleed, as now, it's a bit clearer that the Sith Lord has to pour all their hate and anger into the crystal, and that's if the crystal's living in its way, as he says, then
Makes you wonder what Mace did with his.
Yeah, I think this is...
Lost. Sorry.
That's probably down to the VAR
pad.
But I think basically this is just a sort of slight correction that they've had to make, because in the previous comic that they sort of announced this whole crystal thing is I think people started going like,
book, wasn't it?
why wasn't Anakin's lightsaber red when they were fighting on Mustafar? Like, if that's the case, so I think they probably had to backtrack over that a little bit, because it didn't really make a lot of sense initially, but Now, slightly more so. Do I like it? Nope. Still dumb.
You know, you're not crazy about it.
Not a big fan of this idea.
I've never quite understood why they're saying that the Sith has to go and steal a Jedi's lightsaber. Why don't they just go and get their own kyber crystal? It makes them seem like, only Jedi's can make a lightsaber, so a Sith has to go and steal one. Why don't they just go and get their own kyber crystal like the Jedi younglings did?
So why then are some of them green then?
Because when a Jedi gets the crystal, their sort of force sensitivity creates the crystal kind of calls out to them and bonds with them, and it either becomes green or
What about blue?
Blue.
Becomes green or blue.
But then a Sith has to go and steal a Jedi's lightsaber, take that crystal and make it bleed. But why not just go and get their own kyber crystal like the Jedi's do?
Well,
unless someone out there knows.
Say,
I'm just throwing the question out there because I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing Yoda here, but he did basically say, like, Sith are lazy. The dark side's the easy way, so it's easy to go find a lightsaber, which is stupid.
How's it easy? You've got to get it from a Jedi.
I mean,
well, exactly.
Darth Maul had to go and get two, didn't he? So,
Yeah.
not that lazy.
Well,
And
presumably.
put them together.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if the ins and outs of his...
And then why wasn't the
to be honest.
laser on the Death Star red? Because that was just one massive kyber
I
crystal.
was thinking about that.
But
yeah.
then, I mean, a Jedi didn't touch it, or influence it. So why is it green? Oh, we're overthinking it anyway.
maybe they're green.
So basically what we've
Perhaps
decided...
they're green in their natural state.
Possibly.
And then when the Jedi bonds with it, it's like blue. And the younglings
Maybe it's
would
like a
stay
mood
green.
crystal.
Hmm?
Mood crystal. It changes with your mood.
So what would you say...
Mood crystals,
Mood
man.
crystal.
That explains why the Jedis have long hair, man.
What would you say is the
They wear
difference in mood
robes.
between Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi then? Because
Blue and green.
they are basically the same character, it's just that.
Yeah, but Qui-Gon seems a bit more hippie-ish,
Yeah, but Luke was, and mind you, his blue lightsaber wasn't his, was it? So,
But he made the green one.
He made a
Return
green
of the
one.
Jedi, yeah.
but yeah, why is Mace's purple? Is he a grey Jedi?
No, he weren't a grey Jedi.
It's the
Vapad.
Well, we don't know that, but we're just guessing.
It might come in the Mace Windu comic.
I think he poured his tasty beverage into the crystal, and after
about the cheeseburger?
after a big Kahuna burger and job done. Yeah,
I do want to read that comic though, because I don't read the comics, must admit, but it does actually sound quite good.
Well,
that.
you can probably download it for your phone,
True.
there you go, modern technology. So
Comixology.
check it
I
out.
believe is an app that I used to use, as well as DC and Marvel comic apps.
Yeah.
If you want to go direct, I think it's a Marvel comic, Star Wars stuff. So if you download the Marvel app, you'll probably be able to find it on that.
It is. Check out Darth Vader #1 by Marvel Comics. And just before we get out of talking Sith, we'll just do a very quick mention again for the Club Star Wars competition. And this will be appearing on your screen right now. Artwork is absolutely required to be an original piece of work. Artwork must be saved in high definition and be 1920 by 1080 in size. Gamer tag must be included with your submission for proper identification. Final works must be submitted to clubstarwars@outlook.com. The duration of this contest will last a few months, thus giving artists a proper amount of time to complete their work. The draw date is up to Force Talk. Ooh, so we're going to decide. The winner will have their original artwork displayed for 6 months at least for thousands of Star Wars fans to admire and enjoy. May the Force be with you. And just to let you know also that we had our first submission from Chipper. What was it again?
Chipper my dipper.
Chipper my dipper. I can assume that's your gamer's tag. So thanks very much for that. Nice one. Well done, Chipper my dipper. And keep them coming in, everyone. Nice one. Okay, welcome to the Art Awakens. We're going to be discussing Star Wars posters through the years. And in this particular episode, we're going to be discussing, of course, Star Wars A New Hope. We've just had the 40th anniversary. So looking at the first one I've got here, this is the very first Star Wars poster and was unveiled at San Diego Comic-Con in 1976. Art by Howard Chaykin. And as you can see, it's very, very comic book orientated.
I've never seen this before.
Have you not?
No, this is first time seeing it today, and
That's a bit of schooling for you.
Yeah. Like I thought there was no Star Wars stone I'd left unturned, but Here you go, Paddy. School me once again.
Well, this is my particular nerdy corner of the Star Wars universe because I got into poster collecting in the mid-90s when I was still in school, basically. So I went to a film fair to track down some of the books and like comic books that I was missing that I was always looking in second-hand bookshops to find. And I went into film fair in Manchester, and they kind of went, oh yeah, and you can buy these cinema posters things, and you can get these press kit things, and it was just like, whoa. I found a load of new stuff I could spend my money on there. But yeah, this particular one was $150 in 1976 at the convention. So
that's a lot of money,
and they're very rare now.
That is crazy amount of money,
isn't it? How much would that equal in today's money? Would you think?
Hayden might
lot.
A gazillion pounds, yeah. But that's pretty much how much. That's pretty much how much you would have to pay for it now.
I mean, it's kind of crazy to think that they were charging that at the time as well, because everybody was expecting this film to die on its arse. So it's surprising that they were sort of like saying, "Hey, pay this 150 quid," which for 70s must must have been just an obscene amount of money for a poster. I mean, worthwhile investment to anybody who probably did.
Definitely.
But
maybe it went towards the special effects budget.
Yeah, it probably did.
You never know. But the marketing guy was very smart to do. I mean, it was there's a picture of them on the table at the San Diego Comic-Con saying $150, only one per person.
Yeah.
I believe some text at the bottom. Can we get that any larger? I see
Star Wars
Skywalker in largish font.
I don't know. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah. Oh yes, first edition artist Howard Chaykin, Luke Skywalker. The piece is called Luke Skywalker, poster 1. I don't think there was ever a poster 2.
Looking a little bit closer at his poster as well, I've noticed that Luke's lightsaber is kind of reddish as well.
Yeah, pinkish.
Pinkish.
And Darth's upside down lightsaber.
Yeah, over his head.
So it's a bit different.
Red lenses. Well, like again, we can only assume that the artwork was based on very limited reference photos, and they probably hadn't decided what colour the lightsabers were yet. So, he's probably just gone off.
He probably just said laser swords and was like, what colours are lasers? Red.
Yeah,
boom.
Exactly. There you go.
I imagine that's how that went.
So, if anyone ever offers you one,
if you see one in a shop, second-hand shop,
grab it. So there you go. So that was the very first Star Wars poster. Next up, when the film actually was coming out, we had Style A by Tom Young. This is probably one of the most iconic Star Wars posters. And what I always thought about this one is quite the droids are kind of nearly there. You can see C-3PO looks a little bit more like the sort of Metropolis kind of droid. R2's pretty much there, but they've made Luke very much into a
He-Man,
He-Man hero type thing.
And Leia's looking a little bit more Barbarella, isn't she?
Yeah, they've sex Leia up a little bit there, haven't they?
To be honest, for the way Luke looks there, because I remember there was a bit of controversy in the 90s about like figures, especially Star Wars figures, being like over macho. Like
Power of the Force line.
Oh, those Power of the Force.
Yeah, so like looking at Luke there, like he does look as the figures look. So like for 90s ones, anyway. So maybe that's why they were so inclined to do that. And more X-wings in the poster than you ever see in the film.
True, but the backdrop bit is quite beautiful. Anyway, the way Vader's painted in, and like you say, the X-wings coming up there, it is a gorgeous one. There's also a thing to watch out for if you are a poster collector. They did what they call bootlegs, or sometimes known as restrikes, where like the printing firm that had originally made the poster, after hours, they would kind of whip a few more off.
Oh, right.
And you can actually pay quite a lot of money for the hairy belt bootleg of this particular poster.
You'll have to explain that to us simpletons, Paddy.
So basically, when they reprinted it, there was a hair caught in the printer, and it is just visible on Luke's belt. So if you look closely at one, somebody offers you one, you look closely at it.
Why were you looking at Luke's belt?
I wasn't. I didn't find this out.
Okay.
A lot of people, a lot geekier than me, in the poster community figured out about the hairy belt. So watch out for that. But you can still get a few quid for it. So, you know, if it's cheap, why not pick up a hairy belt? So there you go. That's style A.
Schooling us again, isn't he?
Style B. Pretty average, pretty boring. I mean, it's what you would call an advanced poster. So this is one that you would see in the cinema before the films come out. You know, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. It's pretty much just the text.
I mean, it's kind of similar to what they've had recently with The Last Jedi and Force Awakens poster,
teaser.
where it's just like
just the text,
just for text.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a Star Wars film coming out. I mean,
Exactly.
nobody cared back then because nobody knew what Star Wars was, but obviously now, everyone attached to that.
And
logo.
you can see that in that poster. That's because you've got the different Star Wars text in the previous, the Tom Young, and then in
the
that one,
you're
on the official Star Wars font.
So that's the first time it appeared, is it?
As far as I know, I think that's the first time the proper Star Wars text appeared. So there you go. So still collectible, but like I'm obviously not crediting an artist in these ones because they're just basically a typesetting thing, aren't they? So now then, I think this is probably the most famous Star Wars poster, to be honest.
They like this poster.
Style C.
I'm
Go
laughing.
on.
As a mate of mine, I had this poster in my bedroom. Okay, and when he saw it, he thought Luke's leg was Leia's leg. and he wondered what the brown furry thing was. I'm not saying anymore. So I can't look at this poster anymore.
So did you
without seeing something very wrong?
Like Chewbacca was like,
Stop it.
So we'll just leave it there.
Stop it.
But look at the poster, Joel.
It was the 70s.
Yes, so
now that you point it
Leia's
out,
right
I
leg,
can't unsee it.
Leia's left leg. Yes, so I can never unsee that now.
Yeah, fair
I
enough.
can say about the lightsaber on Luke Skywalker's belt as well.
All the fans. Anyway, yeah. I'm not saying anything else about that poster.
to bring the mood down, don't you?
Yeah.
I think it's possibly my favourite A New Hope poster.
But not anymore.
Not yours.
Because of Chewbacca.
Well, no, at least it's got everyone in there. You know?
Notice for Death Star looks less like for Death Star than in the Style A, though.
Maybe that's a moon rather than the Death Star.
And the lightsaber. I never liked Darth's lightsaber in that.
Oh, because it's got the sort of yellowy orange tint to it.
So it looks more like.
What are you doing with your hands?
Leia's got the looks like a red lightsaber, but I know it's a blaster.
No, she's got the blaster. They both got they've all got the Stormtrooper blasters, haven't they?
But it's well put together.
But it's nice. You've got Tarkin in there.
You've got the kind of cross shape from Luke's leg, and the two blasters. It's sort of a.
It was beautifully constructed by Tom Chantrell, and in fact, I met a poster collector a couple of years ago. I was chatting to him about all these things, and he was saying that he tracked the guy down who painted this, and he had again pretty limited sort of reference photos, but the picture of Leia, he said he didn't have a picture of he wanted them to be coming out like this, but he didn't have a picture of Leia side on, and apparently the artist's girlfriend was a Japanese or a Chinese lady,
right,
and he got her to put one of her robes on and draped her in the right angle, so he basically used his wife's body and then put Carrie Fisher on the
very smart, and to be fair, did for job.
It did, absolutely nailed it. I love that poster. We'll come on to the sort of British version in a minute.
Old Star Wars font,
back again to that.
It looks like they were being really indecisive as far as that font is concerned.
I do really like that one though.
Yeah, cool.
I do like that one. Style D is quite interesting. This is kind of known as the Circus Poster, and it's also the first time that Drew Struzan, who, if you don't know much about posters, you may have at least heard of the name Drew Struzan. Cause
I think I've heard you mention him.
Yeah, he's like pretty much the most famous poster artist in the universe. He did all the famous posters that you've seen for Back to the Future, for Indiana Jones, for he did Star Wars.
He did Harry Potter as well, didn't he, for the first couple?
Yeah, he did the first couple of Harry Potters. So he is the iconic poster geezer, and in fact his our mate Paul Shipper's hero as well. He was very heavily influenced with him, and he actually helped him out early in his career as well, and invited him to his studio and stuff like that. So very cool guy. But I'm not quite sure why it was two artists together. The Style D, but that's known as the Circus Poster. But I do I love the.
It's very B movie looking, isn't it?
It is, yeah. You got the Jawas in there. I just love the way Luke and Leia are painted in this one.
Strange how Vader's kind of the smaller, less insignificant looking character there. He doesn't look quite as threatening.
What about Chewbacca in the corner?
Where?
Just peeping out there.
Oh yeah. And there's that Jawa on the other side.
Peach
Yeah,
and
we've got the
Chooch.
Jawas,
Squirting
Jawas in
water.
there.
He's squirting water, that Jawa.
No, he's doing his chicken.
Oh, right. This is...
So there you go. I think that's. I do like that one, and I like the kind of like it's sort of ripped out here as well. It's like it's been stuck on it's been pasted up on a wall, and they've ripped kind of bits of it off. It's got like a real grungy feel to it, hasn't it?
Well, it looks like it's two separate posters in a way, doesn't it? Because you've got that picture of Obi-Wan on the left there, which looks like a part of another poster that's been partially torn.
Yeah.
Maybe
a pulpy kind of vibe.
Yeah, but also at the same time, you can think of it like Charles White and Drew Struzan did the poster on the right bit, and then the studio was like, Alec Guinness is in this film, and they're like, oh, fine. Just added an extra bit.
Yeah, could be. But I do like that one as well. I've got that one, and I've got the style. I've not got Style C. It's kind of hard to get hold of. This one is really, really nice. This is kind of an expansion of the Style A Tom Young one, where you're getting to see a lot more of the characters in there. Luke in there again, the closing ceremony, Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's known as a half sheet.
I've not seen that one, I don't think.
Yeah, it's very cool. You see, all the ones we've discussed before, are USA 1 sheets.
Oh, right.
So they're 27 by 40.
Yeah.
And they always go...
Is that centimetres?
Inches.
Inches.
27 by 40. So then they always go this way.
Portrait.
But the half sheet is kind of close to what you'll see in a minute is the British version. So it's like basically half of one of those posters, but like kind of going lengthways. And I do really love this one because it kind of... It uses all that space for the art.
It reminds me like back in the 80s, if you remember, outside the old cinemas, you used to get all the actual pictures of the films that were on. You don't get that now in the cinema, do you?
Front of house sets.
You used to actually get all but no, actually outside. The old cinemas used to get like the posters in a glass box. But
yeah, the quads is the British version. The quad. Oh, you get the front of house sets, like 8 stills from the film as well.
Yeah,
underneath. Yeah, that's a whole other. That's a whole other show. But that was by Tom Young as well, who did the Style A. So he's obviously kind of tweaked that artwork a bit, hasn't he? Because Leia still looks sexy, but they're in a kind of much different pose. So that's that one. Again, the Star Wars Miler, that's basically like just a shiny version of the previous one. So coming to your galaxy this
different
summer.
Font though, like a bit of a weird take on the W there, isn't it?
Oh yeah. I didn't notice that. Yeah, well spotted.
Like an upside down M.
But yeah, that's on like a kind of shiny gold thing, so that one's quite valuable as well. That's another advanced poster. Now,
seen that one, yeah.
This is Rocking Horse also. So here we're getting into British quads. So the British quads are 30 by 40, and they go horizontally always. This particular artwork, this guy didn't have any reference photos for Luke or Leia, as you can probably tell. In fact, it's 2 brothers, Hildebrand brothers, who did this artwork together. Now, basically what happened was they produced this one, and as you can see, it's virtually the same layout as the Tom Young, the Style A. But apparently they did this, printed it up as a quad, and the Spanish release also, the main release, had this artwork on it.
Right.
But that was it, because basically they issued this as a British quad and then withdrew it.
Oh, right.
So but people do have a very limited amount of copies of the Hildebrand art. If you have got one, 2, 3, 4 grand, 5, 10, you name it.
I could never pay that much for a piece of paper.
It is crazy. It's an illness. It's a sickness. It's a piece of paper. It's a lot of money. But there you go. That's Hildebrand. Withdrawn. Coming back to Cantrell again, which we had on the Style C. This is the quad, which is the British version of it.
I have that in my bag for life.
You have that on your bag for life? Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, that's true. I've actually got this one, but it was released in '79, a couple of years later, with the Oscars thing on there, saying what Oscars they won, which is worth a bit less, but still. Yeah. I picked it up for 25 quid in the 90s, and I could probably get 400 maybe for it now. So those were the times when you could get in. Last couple now as well. So this is the poster for the radio drama. So do you know about these, the Star Wars radio dramas?
I've actually listened to them. And they're terrible, like super cringe. It's like For starters, none of the main cast are in it, apart from Anthony Daniels, because of course Anthony Daniels is going to be in it.
He's always going to be. I think Mark Hamill does it though. Mark Hamill does his voice. I thought he did.
I think so.
In at least the first one, no.
I'm not sure. Cause
I think he does.
I recall only listening to Return of the Jedi. I think
Could be wrong.
It's been a while, to be fair. I did do this years ago, but yeah, basically, as far as I'm aware, none of the real cast are in it.
Yeah,
and you're just listening to. If you thought the acting in Star Wars the film was bad, check out these radio plays, because ooh-wee, they take it next level.
Whereas Anthony Daniels still,
yeah, well, he's actually the best part.
Yeah, well, of course.
It's him.
He'd be glad to hear that, I'm sure.
And I think he gets more lines, because, of course he would.
But the thing is, these were clearly the kind of, like, bridging the gap that they didn't have for, like, video releases and stuff like that, wasn't it? I mean, video was still in its infancy, so to share the film after it had been in the cinema with the public was like put out an because they had those audio records as well.
Yeah, I've got one of those.
Have you got one of
I've got
those?
all three from the original trilogy, the big 12-inch vinyl. Story of Star Wars,
which are really good because they've kind of got
the story continues on side B.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but that was
the obvious thing on here is C-3PO being front and center again because he's the only cast member in it.
There you go.
But I think.
Exactly.
Like, that would make perfect
sense. And they put him in front of a little radio mic with his headphones on. You quite like that. Celia Strain art by that, 1981. So that's the radio drama. It's a very nice poster here. Okay, we're down to the last two now.
What's that one?
This is really, really nice.
Is Luke on a surfboard there? Or?
He is. He's surfing safari. So Drew Struzan back to the Star Wars galaxy.
He looks like he's on that thing from Flash Gordon. You know the pedestal thing with Timothy Dalton.
Oh yeah. The I can't remember what it's called. I interviewed him about it, and then I think all he called about was the platform.
The platform.
I can't remember what he referred to it as. Anyway, yeah. So Drew Struzan did this to celebrate the Star Wars being 10 years old.
Oh right, sorry. Do you know I looked at that and I thought it was the Disney acquisition because is that not Mickey Mouse ears on Darth Vader's helmet? No. I am looking at this from a funny angle.
I see what you mean now.
Luke's surfboarding and it's Mickey Mouse ears.
No, that's the Death Star and there's
there's two little taco things at the bottom. Yeah, the little tacos you could collect.
The pogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think these were.
That's actually like one of my first big Star Wars purchases. Actually, for Star Wars Special Edition Pog book.
Yeah.
That's
right. Yeah.
So really, it's nothing to do with Disney Pogs or something at all. I'll be quiet.
This was produced, I think, to purchase direct from the fan club. I think was the only place you could get it. It was like a limited run. They're all numbered, so. You can still pick them up quite reasonably now, but I do think it's a very nice one, That's Drew Struzan. So, and second to last one. This is Star Wars' first birthday. So
you thought we wouldn't get this with films nowadays, would you? It's like
the amount of posters produced for one film. No. It's incredible.
Well, not only that, but you wouldn't see like anniversary posters of a film coming out.
No, it used to be a big thing.
It's like Star Wars Force Awakens now holds like most of the sort of box office records. The only one it doesn't have is one that Avatar has, which is like worldwide most box office.
Yeah.
But you don't see any sort of like 1 year anniversary of Avatar posters or anything like that.
It's a shame because it's a really cool thing. I like it. I mean, one can only sort of guess that this was also a bit of an advert for the Kenner figures, which the production was starting to flow now, and they were actually starting to come out and stuff like that. So you just got a load of Kenner figures around a big Star Wars cake, basically. Yeah. So there you go.
I think this is the only post with a Tusken Raider on it as well.
That's true. Well spotted. Yeah. Yeah, we've got a little Tusken Raider at the back there.
What's the candle? Is it a lightsaber? Or is it literally just a candle?
It's a candle. Literally just a candle.
That was unimaginative.
But it's not melting. So,
and to finish up with, Drew Struzan came back for Star Wars Special Edition. There you go. You can actually remember this.
I do like that poster. Yeah. The three of them look really good. You've got the New Hope, Empire, and Return of the Jedi next to each other.
Well, having seen him do the Circus one back in 77 and doing the first 10 years, you can kind of see why he went in the direction he did, because they're kind of got all the characters and blah, 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 blah. Whereas with the special editions, he kind of went for a concept. So the first poster's got the heroes on it, hasn't it? The second poster's like, which we'll discuss later, is like baddies, and then, you know, creatures on the third one. So you kind of look at it as a whole piece, and it kind of represents it. But for me, that was the only thing I didn't like, was that they weren't representative of each film. They were just kind of like a concept of that film. And I'm also quite anal about them picking the right pictures to include, whereas the picture of Leia that he's used there is from Empire Strikes Back, not from A New Hope. But that's just me being picky. But it is a very beautiful piece. So there you go. That's it on Star Wars posters. I won't bore you any further with it now.
Do you know what? now that you mentioned it, I think the Obi-Wan might be as well, because I think that's from him.
Appearing, yeah. Could be, yeah. Yeah, you're right. Still, it works. It's good.
It does. It's a nice poster.
It's nice. So there you go. That's the Art Awakens. Now I'd like to share with you an interview that I did quite a couple of months back now, when I was doing a bit of promoting at Sci-Fi Scarborough, which is a really, really great family sci-fi event every year in Scarborough at the Spa. I suggest you check it out next year if you can. But I managed to catch up with Garrick Hagon, aka Biggs Darklighter from Star Wars A New Hope. Here's how the chat went. So Garrick, before we start talking about Star Wars,
right?
Which of course everyone wants to talk about, I'm sure, when they come to meet you. How did you start out in acting first? What was the first thing you did? What was your interest in it?
The first thing I did was way back when I was about 8 years old, maybe 7. My mother took me to a class run by a Canadian actor called Lorne Greene, who later became famous on Bonanza.
Oh yes, and Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah. And from those classes, somehow I got introduced to radio, and radio was very big in Toronto, where I grew up. And so I got in a program every Saturday morning, coast to coast in Canada, called Doorway to Fairyland. Started with a violin opening the door. You could hear that. And the doorway to Fairyland would open, and we'd have a story for half an hour, and we all acted all the parts of the fairy story. And it just developed. From there on in, I did an awful lot of radio. I had my own show on Saturday mornings in the summer when I was 11 and 12.
Wow.
It was called Peter's Program because I took it over from Peter Jennings, who later became the ABC anchorman in London and then in New York. So he became very famous. Peter Jennings. So I kept the title, or CBC kept the title. So I was a kind of radio performer.
Right.
And I continued that all, but when I came to England, I've done a lot of radio. So radio has been a large part of my life.
Great. So, obviously, well, it will have been, it's 41 years ago now that he actually shot the film.
Wow.
Obviously, this year is the 40th anniversary of Star Wars. And so how did the role of Biggs Darklighter
came
come about?
Because later on in my Canadian career, I went to school, I worked at the Stratford Festival. This is a long story. The Stratford Festival is a Shakespearean festival, one of the major Shakespeare theatres in the world.
Absolutely.
And having put myself through university playing at Stratford, they gave me a scholarship to come to London. I'd been playing very good parts at Stratford, but I needed to expand my horizons, and I came to London to work in whatever area I could, but to be an English actor. And so I've been working over here for a number of years, for about 6 years, I think, before the casting, and I got to be known on television, and did the Doctor Who in '72, and gradually I became known on television. I did a lot of English rep. So when the casting came along, I was known as an an actor who had been, I was Canadian, they knew that. And I went up along with all the other actors who were American or Canadian, North American actors who were in London, and met George. And we had a little chat. And I think within a very short time, I'd been offered this role, which I didn't really know much about because he didn't say much about it at the interview. I didn't read for it. But I was offered Biggs, which turned out to be a terrific part. As Mark called it, one of the best parts cast in England. Thank you. And so I was very lucky. George marked me high on his casting card. Yeah, so George, we had a discussion. I told him about the film I'd been shooting in the desert called, at that time it was called Muhammad, and the Messenger of God. And I'd been in the desert in Libya and in Morocco, and George, of course, was going to shoot in Tunisia, so we had something to talk about. And then eventually the cape that was used in the cut scene in Tunisia became a part of my costume. Lots of those capes were in Morocco. So they became a running theme.
Yeah, so I mean, I was going to ask you a little bit about this because obviously that scene ended up being deleted.
Yeah, what we call the deleted scene. I think because of that, I've become a kind of cult figure because that scene figures very largely in the storybook, the original storybook of Star Wars. And it's a scene that introduces the friendship between Biggs and Luke and gives him a bit of background. So you've got, without that, you kind of wonder who I am when I suddenly appear in the in the hangar before we go off to fight the Battle of Yavin.
Yeah.
So that scene, everybody seems to find, or most fans seem to find on the internet somewhere or other.
That's right.
And most of them like it. Most of them say, well, why isn't it in there?
It is. It's good. It's interesting. I mean, it was good that they put the scene in the hangar back in the special edition.
Yeah.
Because that did give you some background aside from the the obviously the deleted scene on Tatooine.
Yeah.
And which nobody had actually seen.
This is a different one.
Thank you very much.
We're just filming at the moment, so could you just bring those over in a bit for us? Thank you very much.
Thank you. All sorts of gifts.
Yeah, sorry. So the Tatooine scene, and obviously a lot of people hadn't seen it until the Blu-ray came out.
Exactly.
And then, and I assume you hadn't maybe seen it.
Well, I saw it on the CD-ROM. Jeremy Bullock, a dear friend, Boba Fett, as you know, said, you probably haven't seen this scene. And I said, no, I haven't. And he called me over and showed me the CD-ROM called Behind the Magic.
Oh, yeah.
And I must say, I was glad to see it. I had always wondered where and how it was. I'm not displeased with it. Maybe George was, but I'm not. And since then, as you say, it's been well seen by practically any seriously interested fan.
Yeah. Well, I remember that Mark Hamill was talking about it at Celebration and saying that all the other characters in A New Hope get their original introduction. And he said, so my original introduction was this scene with yourself. But instead of that, when they cut it out, he got left with, but I want to go to the Tashi station and pick up some power converters.
I know.
This whingy character. And he said, I always hated the fact that my first line was just so kind of wet, instead of what I got in the other scene. So
yeah, and I thought, well, because in the scene, obviously, he is acting younger. He has a long way to go from that initial Tatooine scene to the end of the picture.
Yeah.
That's his progression as a character.
Yeah.
And even in this scene, he's kicking the sand and acting young.
Yeah.
And but the nice thing about this scene is the brotherhood, the feeling of relationship between the two guys. Mm-hmm. and the feeling that he wants to get off the rock, he wants to join, and it's just a matter of time before he does join the go to the academy, and then join the rebels. You know.
Yeah.
I can see why he'd like a better send-off. So would I.
Yeah. Well, coming round to that, I mean. You know, they've brought in the animated Star Wars series that they're doing. Obviously, they're doing Rebels, so it's still continuing at the moment. They've done Clone Wars previous to that, and they have brought back characters like Wedge and stuff like that. So, you know, I was wondering, have they talked to you about bringing Biggs into any of these?
No, actually, the talk is not extensive. We don't talk about what they're going to do, and I'm pretty well the last one to know because I don't follow a lot of the backstories and
Sure.
Side stories.
Because they have done a comic book about him and stuff like that, haven't they?
Yeah, and I love particularly the Dark Horse series about Biggs, Empire, and the fact that they've drawn me in such a romantic kind of macho way. It's kind of fun, and it gives them a kind of heroic stature, which I kind of like.
Yeah.
But they're very good drawings. Doug Wheatley is one of the major artists and did an incredible job on the Dark Horse series. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, we'll have to wait and see then, I suppose.
Well, it's all wait and see.
I mean, it'd be obviously it'd be quite nice if they were, you know, if they could bring you into episode 9 maybe just to close out the saga.
Yeah, well, they had me, I think, somebody who looked vaguely like me running around in Rogue One.
That's true, the mustache, yeah.
There was a mustache.
And it was quite good that they kind of went period in a way with Rogue One. You know, it did look like 70s Star Wars, which was, you know, which did give it a bit more credibility.
Exactly, and I would have loved to have been running around myself. Good old Angus Mcginnis got his original face in
That's right.
In the attack.
Yeah.
And I think he redid his voice as well. So that was a bonus for Angus as Gold Leader. And, well, you know, it would have been nice. But on the other hand, if you had Biggs in there, you would have opened up a whole new angle, because Biggs has a hell of a lot going for him, a lot of story going for him. And I think you'd have to fill him in a little bit more.
Yeah, that's true. So, well, we'll quickly close out because I know we're basically
here.
It's
getting busy.
We're here at Sci-Fi Scarborough, and people are walking past the camera, and people are getting ready to come and get autographs from from Garrick.
I hope they flow in.
Yes,
I'm sure they will.
So what's next for you? We'll just finish.
Well, I've just done a little part in a film with Benedict Cumberbatch in the current war, but I'm also producing audio a lot of the time. There's our friend, and directing audiobooks. I'm going to do a project for Amazon or Audible.com. And I just keep going along. I've got a company called the Story Circle, and that keeps me very well occupied. And I'm doing a lot of games. As you know, I did Batman Arkham Knight. Yeah. And I'm doing, at the moment, another one called Augmented Empire, and another game called SS4 Delta. So the games are, all of a sudden, have become a large part of my life.
Brilliant.
And I'm very happy about that. Yeah, so I continue as an actor and a director, and just grateful that I'm still connected to the Star Wars saga.
Great. Well, thanks for talking to us at Force Talk, and it's been a pleasure. Garrick Hagon.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think that about wraps it up. We can go and sit in a fridge now.
Oh, God. Oh, it's so hot.
I want to go to half.
I can't deal with it.
Can we go
anymore.
and have a cool drink of blue milk or something?
Chilled blue milk.
Milk is not a good idea.
Milk was a bad choice.
I'll have a Jawa juice, thank you very much.
I'm in a studio of emotion. So we'd like to remind you to subscribe to our channel here, please.
Do it!
Like the videos.
Do it. Do it now.
Leave as many comments as you would like. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at SW4Stock. Also, if you're feeling hipstery, on Instagram at SW4Stock. That's it. Until next time, we'll see you again in 2 weeks. May the Force be with you.
Kapow!